Please subscribe and share this video with your friends.
Hey everyone, I'm Corey Jenkins, and check me out. I am in the dating den with someone you know very well, Marni Battisat.
Hey, Corey.
Nice to be here with you again.
I love having you in the dating den. You have good juju.
Thank you. Thank you. I like your juju as well.
And I like your sweater. I like your juju and your sweater.
Well, I appreciate that. I also appreciate the outstanding questions that your audience and your followers send in. And we have a great one. It's, when do I talk about my sexual past with a partner? And I don't mean to get too serious right away, but this is an outstanding question. I'm so glad it's asked because this is a question that most people take really lightly. I think they like to joke around about it, but I think to be truly dating with dignity, this is a real
This is a huge thing. So I was sharing, we were talking that when women first come to me and they were like, oh, you know, this guy and there's a story and then we had sex, and I'm like, well, but what? You know, like, what? It just happened. Never mind. Like, it just happened. It's almost like that's over here. And I say, if I repeat myself, forgive me. It's not a sneeze. It just doesn't happen. You just don't, like, you know, whatever.
I posted something on Facebook. I was driving through West Hollywood, and there was a billboard that said "Sex Happens," and of course, it was an advertisement for getting tested.
Oh yeah, I see that. Yeah.
But I took a picture of it and I posted it, and I said, "Does it really, or do you pull down your pants and make a choice before sex happens?" Because it really isn't.
And if you don't pull them over, you at least slide them over.
Well done.
Well, sometimes it's in a car. I don't know. So, but what we really want to talk about is if you really are here because you want to date with dignity, when do you talk about your sexual past? Well, number one is, this is a great question because it means you're actually having a conversation about it.
Cheers to that. That's really helpful.
So we actually believe that you should have that conversation. And when do you think, in terms of like how some relationship dating is kind of progressing, what's your sort of read on it?
You know, I want to intertwine it with something you said, which is, if you're truly dating with dignity, which I highly encourage, it's probably not going to be having sex on the first date, or probably not the second date or the third date. So it opens up room, Marni, for that conversation. I can give you an example from my own life. Many years ago, there was a woman I was dating, and she was outstanding at having these conversations. So with a couple of other subjects, we literally took a couple hours one Saturday afternoon, and we answered questions like, are we exclusive? Are we going to start having a sexual relationship? And
great.
It sounds really formal and maybe a little bit awkward, but I got to tell you what, I was so impressed that it actually gave me a lot of insight into this human being, and it said, wow, she's really responsible, she's communicative. So to get back to the answer, I think it's relevant relatively early on. Exactly when it happens, whether it's probably not something I would do on the first date, but in the first couple of dates, and certainly before you have sex.
Exactly. And so I sort of recommend, when it comes to sex, I mean, in my book, that's really, really intimate, and we're talking intercourse. So, by the way, that means you're making out, you're doing high school go around the bases, right? We're talking about intercourse. So let's say you slowly go around the bases, and you, as a woman, get to decide what is your deal breaker, what's your bottom line around having sex. So it could be exclusivity.
Yep, monogamy.
It could be he's just not dating anyone else, but we haven't said we're a fish. It could be he takes his profile down from Match.com. Right. I mean, there's a lot of options, right?
There are, and you know, on somewhat of a serious note, there's also the issue of sexually transmitted diseases.
Right, exactly.
And this is a subject that doesn't come up enough, but to me, this is all encompassed in that conversation.
Absolutely.
You make a great point. What is your value system? What is it that you need? And at the same time, giving yourself enough time to get to know this person for the other things that aren't related to sexuality.
Absolutely. Because sometimes if someone says they have an STD, or they have this situation in their past, or they're a virgin, or whatever it is, once you've dated them, you've gone out on a few dates, you're able to kind of put it in context, and you actually care for the person. So then you have the conversation, you share, and I'm a big believer in what I call the STD date.
A great idea.
Right? So you're like, so here's, in my world, so with Jeremy, it was like, I don't have sex until I'm in a committed exclusive relationship. So I told him that flat out. It's not easy when you really like someone to say no. but I wasn't ready to commit. Have you ever had that situation?
I have both situations. One where I wasn't ready to commit, or two where I just knew it was responsible to have the discussion.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's a really big deal. STD Date, what a great idea. I got to tell you, for the handful of women who have come to me and had these discussions proactively, it generates such, it's almost an emotion that I can't describe, but it's respect.
Yep.
It's attraction at another level. It says to me, wow, this person can communicate. She knows who she is. She's not afraid. Those are the building blocks for really good, strong relationships.
And you heard it here. Quality guys think that's sexy. Like, it's attractive. It's hot to say, like, I'm responsible, I care about myself, I know what I want, and to share that.
And guess what? This is going to sound like a little bit of a sideball to this, but if you can talk about things like STDs and your value system around sex, later on in the relationship, you can have great conversations about sex that is actually going to contribute to your satisfaction during sex. It's almost as if these are
I
stair
didn't even think of that. That's so true, right? Because you want to talk about sex in your relationship and you want to be able to be honest and open about what your needs are and what rocks your world and what doesn't. So in theory, so I was saying before, I call this dating with dignity. In the fantasy montage scene, you know, you have the conversation, you're talking about what you want, you decide to be exclusive, you have the STD date, you get clear, you educate your partner. Maybe your partner doesn't know what the deal is about managing herpes or whatever it is, right? And then you are two consenting adults, and that kind of honesty really, I think, makes for better sex.
Yeah, oh my gosh, it absolutely does. Because think about it then, if you can talk about those things early on, then as your relationship progresses, if you know yourself, you're able to communicate to your partner what you like. I mean, to me, it's a whole other thing, but talking about sex when you're not having sex is one of the sexiest things that you can do.
Absolutely. And then you create intimacy, and there is nothing worse. We've all been there, I think, whether it's whatever. And you're laying there, you're starting to make out, and your little brain starts going, oh my God, what did I talk about this? What did I talk about that? Oh, I should really talk. And you totally aren't even present.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm all for awesome sex. So is Corey.
Yes, please.
Yes, please, right? So what we want you to do is, it's like voting in Chicago. Talk early and talk often.
Perfect. Talk early, talk often. But yeah, you don't have to have the whole conversation on the first date, but I do encourage you to use that to challenge yourself, to have those discussions earlier on in a relationship and watch how it develops intimacy. If you're looking for a straight up tip on how to develop intimacy, which is a challenge to a lot of people, have the conversations that are tough. It's amazing how it bonds people.
Awesome. And if you want more Corey Jenkins, go to CoreyLJenkins.com. Check out his website. You can also follow him on Facebook. He posts cool stuff like billboard photos with deep, thought-provoking conversations at Facebook.com/Corey Jenkins. And you can find moi at Dating with Dignity on Instagram, or follow me on Twitter at Marni Battisat. And make sure you have those conversations, lady, because we want you to date with dignity. All right. Thanks, Corey. We'll talk to you soon.
You're welcome.
Bye, ladies. Hey, it's Marni Battisat, and thanks so much for watching The Dating Den. If you want to become a binge watcher, which I highly recommend, subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of the latest dating tips, and get a whole community of women who are doing the Dating Den thing by sharing this video with your friends. I have a free gift for you for watching The Dating Den, and that is our book, Becoming Irresistible. You'll learn how to get a man to pursue you, adore you, and commit to you for life. So click the link below and get started on your journey to find love now.